Welcome to the Hoxworth Unfiltered podcast, brought to you by Hoxworth Blood Center at the University of Cincinnati. I'm Ashley Smith, and this is Ashley Asks Recipients. Today, we're talking with several incredible Hoxworth blood recipients about their journeys and how blood donation has impacted their lives. First, we are joined by Perry Hall. Perry, why don't you give me a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Ross, Ohio. And I have 6 children, and I'm a 2-time kidney recipient.
Yeah.
I also work for the National Kidney Foundation.
Yeah, this is such a great story. And of course, we do facilitate all of the organ transplants in the Cincinnati area. So we would have been involved in that, not myself personally, but so we'll get to that as well. You're also going to hear from Jessica Gilbert. She is a mom of 2 who was diagnosed with ovarian cancer after what she first thought was a sinus infection. You're also going to hear from Hoxworth volunteer Karen Pletikapic, who was diagnosed with leukemia during the pandemic, and she initially thought she had COVID. And Haley Hardy. She is with Blood Cancer United. She is the campaign development director for Student Visionaries. She is also a blood cancer survivor who donated her own stem cells and later received them back during treatment. So Haley is a blood cancer survivor working for Blood Cancer United. You're a kidney transplant recipient working for the National Kidney Foundation. So we love how there's all those tie-ins. So we're going to start with Perry right now. And you mentioned you're a mom of 6 kids. So I imagine you're very busy.
Yes, I birthed 4 of them, and then have 2 bonus. The 4th one actually came after my first transplant.
Wow. So. And you said you're from Ross. You have raised your family here in Cincinnati. So what do you love most about living in Cincinnati?
Oh, there's so much to do. I mean, we really honestly do have everything.
Yeah.
You know, every sporting event, every arts, music, theater.
Yes. Yeah, I love that. Okay, so tell me a little bit about your story, going back to when you were a child and you first found out that you had problems with your kidney.
Yes. So I was 17 months old, and I ended up with a kidney infection. The pediatrician prescribed a Sofa-drug, which ended up crystallizing in my ureter. Luckily, I was still in diapers, and my parents realized I hadn't used the restroom and brought me down to Children's, where I was currently in renal failure due to the blockage. They did 5 major surgeries to clean out the blockage, and during that time, they found out I was born with just 1 kidney.
Wow.
Yeah. So I did PD dialysis at Children's for 3 months while I lived there, and luckily, my native kidney came back to 85% function.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't know that could happen. I thought once it fails, that's it.
Yeah. So there are circumstances where it's acute and your kidney can bounce back.
Wow.
I was very fortunate. But the doctors did tell my parents that I should not play sports. I wouldn't carry children. Basically, I'd probably need a transplant by the time I was 13 when my hormones started. And luckily, I did all of those things.
Yeah, you showed them.
I'm a rule breaker. Yes, I played sports through high school, went to college, met my first husband in college. Mm-hmm. We had the 3 oldest children. I carried them myself, and they were perfect. Full term.
Yeah.
The first one was 5 weeks early, but pretty much full term. And things were great until I turned 30.
Okay.
And then when I turned 30, I thought I ended up getting a broken toe and went to urgent care, and they laughed and said they would take my money for the x-ray, but it was actually gout.
Wow.
And then followed it up with, do you have any kidney issues? I had been followed by a nephrologist since the pregnancy of my first child. I was 20 at the time, so, you're invincible. Mm-hmm. And I think I followed that philosophy the whole time, even after the nephrologist told me at 28 that probably in about 2 years I would have to start dialysis or get a transplant, and that I should go to a dialysis clinic, just to look around and see what it was about, which I did at 28. And I kind of laughed when I left, I feel fine.
Yeah.
Things are great.
Yeah.
And sure enough, 2 years later, almost to the day, had to start after the urgent care doctor was like, you should contact your nephrologist.
Mm-hmm. So did you go on the list, or how did you end up getting the kidney?
Yeah, so with the first one, they actually, when I went to the emergency room the first time to get labs redrawn, they couldn't believe it. They thought, how are you coherent, let alone bouncing around? Your kidney is functioning at 4%. You basically should not be here. Mm-hmm. And so after that, I was a direct admit at Bethesda North, and they put a chest catheter in, and I started dialysis the next day. Mm-hmm. And then worked with my nephrologist to be put on the transplant list, or get the referral to do all the testing to be put on the list. Because of the childhood trauma to the kidney and surgeries, I had transfusions then. And then when I had to start emergency dialysis, all of my labs were so off. With your kidney functioning at 4%, you become toxic, basically. Yeah. And so because of those labs, I got more transfusions at that time.
Wow. Do you remember that?
So I remember getting the transfusions as an adult, not necessarily as a child.
Yeah. Do you remember how you felt afterwards? Like, do you remember it helping?
Yes. So the emergency room doctor actually, when I was there to rerun the lab work for my failing kidney, was like, well, are you tired? Like, are you... And I was like, well, I have 3 kids. Like, yes, I'm tired all the time. And so I remember getting the transfusions and having so much more energy. It was kind of surreal, actually.
What's your blood type?
I'm O negative.
Oh wow.
I know.
So you're the universal donor. So yeah, that's...
Which makes it even more important, right?
Yes, yeah.
So then when it comes to matching for a kidney,
right,
all those antibodies come into play, because not only did I have the transfusions, but then I also carried the children. Yeah. Which is another burden that us women get to take on.
Yes.
So they told me then, when I did the workup, that it would probably be about 4.5 to 5 years before they were able to find a match for me. Oh my gosh. And that was back in 2008. I started dialysis in 2007. So about the time that I was going through all the testing, they kind of dumped me at the beginning, I think, of 2008.
And did it take that long? 4 years, 5 years?
So yes, I did in-center hemo for about 1.5 years, and then an additional, a little over 3, I did hemo at home before I got the call for my first transplant.
Okay. So how long did that kidney last?
9 years.
Okay.
Lasted 9 years. Ended up failing during COVID. Okay. Which I too also thought that I had a sinus infection.
Wow.
Yes. But very blessed with all of those years, and especially because we got to bring our little Gwen into the world, who is turning 8 this weekend.
Wow.
Yes.
And so you were able to have her with your new kidney? Okay.
Yes.
So, and then was the childbirth part of what made that kidney fail? I mean, so was it taxing on that kidney?
No, actually through the pregnancy, my creatinine was still like 0.72. Okay. I mean, it was phenomenal that whole time. And then she was about 2.5 when I started with what I thought was a sinus infection. We're not exactly sure what happened. I was taking medicine for the sinus infection at the same time as the meds, so I'm not exactly sure what caused the failure. They did tell me, don't try it again, which is great. I mean, I already had the pleasure of birthing before and 2 additional, so I would not try for another one. Yeah. But
you already showed them.
She completed our family.
Yeah.
Yes.
You proved them wrong in so many aspects. Like, that's okay. Yes. So with the second transplant, how'd that process go? How was it different?
So the second transplant, it was seemingly different in the fact that I feel like I was older. I really, again, didn't realize that my kidney was failing, got dumped into having to start emergency dialysis again, and again, was very thankful for the gift I had been given, and I almost actually grieved for my donor family, first, because I felt like they were losing what ended up being a child who donated to me, them again. I felt like they were losing them again. I don't personally know them, but that was the emotions that I had during that time. So then it took a while for me to get through the testing, some pushes from my friends and the staff at Christ, but got through the testing. I also, in the meantime, had posted, eventually through the process, posted on Facebook, and a friend of a friend stepped up.
Wow.
She was not a direct match to me, but she was well enough with her testing that she went ahead and donated a kidney. I believe it went to the Carolinas.
Okay.
Ahead of me even finishing my testing. So then I had a voucher once I was done with the paired exchange program. And my call for a deceased donor kidney came before I used the voucher.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We talk about paired exchange. We talked about that with, if people are familiar with Danielle's story, and she's still waiting for a kidney, but paired exchange is a way that you can kind of help, if somebody's not a direct match for her, all these people that are trying to be, they can still be part of the paired exchange program and help her out.
Multiple people.
Indirectly.
Help multiple people, yes.
I love paired exchange. I think it's so fascinating. So obviously now you work at the National Kidney Foundation. What do you do there?
Yes, so I am now the Senior Development Director, so I run basically our fundraising programs, our Kidney Walk, our Golf Classic, and coming in March is our annual Dining with the Stars.
Okay.
So it's very exciting, yes. Even prior to me starting with the National Kidney Foundation, I actually volunteered when I started dialysis the first time and created my own fundraising events. So we had a share your spare bowling league that we raised money for the local, we were an independent foundation then before we merged. Then once I got the kidney transplant, 2011, I started temp for NKF in 2012, early in 2012, and then was hired on in 2013.
Obviously you've been on the recipient end of this, but I'm sure you're often trying to encourage people to be donors, to sign up to be donors.
Yes.
How do you do that? How do you encourage people to sign up to be a kidney donor? Or organ donor in general?
So I actually think that I don't necessarily encourage them, or even, it's not really an ask, right? I think when I'm out and I say, oh, well, I'm a 2-time kidney recipient, and people see me, their first reaction is, but you look normal, you look healthy. And I'm like, that's because I received a kidney transplant and I don't have to sit on the machine for hours at a time. Which is also at catch-22, because I think people who are on dialysis that are living their lives and looking well, it's a hard sell, right? If that's the word we're using. It's a hard sell to say, I am so sick that I have to sit on this machine for hours at a time, because when people look at you, you don't look sick.
Yeah, it's like you don't want that to define you, but at the same time, you want everyone to know that I am struggling. Like I am going through this awful thing and that impacts my life so much, but it's not evident.
It's not visible.
Yeah.
So then I think by just sharing my story, that encourages people alone to be like, well, I think I could help out. I would want to give that gift to somebody else. And if they can't be a living donor, not to say that they're not important, right? They could still sign up on their driver's license, share their wishes with their family.
Right.
That's just as important. Both of my kidney donors passed away for me to get the gift. So I don't think it has to be a hard ask. You don't have to say, hey, I need a kidney. You're going to save my life.
Right.
It just has to be a share what you do on a daily basis, or share what you can't do. I can't spend as much time with my kids. I can't ride a bike. I can't pick up my grandchild because I have a port from PD dialysis.
Yep.
I mean, it could really just be that simple.
And then obviously blood donors have played a role in this as well. So
yes.
How would you encourage people to donate blood, or what would you like to say to all those donors?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think those are probably the ones that get overlooked. Like if you're a kidney donor, like people are applauding you. And of course, sadly, people get the honor walk, if they become a donor when they've passed. But I think blood donors, tissue donors.
Yeah.
I can remember meeting somebody who had torn his tendon and had to have someone else's, right? And I was like, oh, did you write to the family of your donor? And they were like, what? And I was like, what do you mean? Like, you've never heard of this before? This is not new. But I think some of those people get left out of the thank you process. So I would say a big thank you, because I've had multiple transfusions that have saved my life at different points in my life. And so it does make a difference, especially when you're O negative.
Absolutely. I know. And it's so few. I think it's only 6% of people have O. Yeah, you're very special. She's like, I know. But for other reasons, you're very special, because it's very rare. And then those people, when you are O negative and you have that rare blood type, maybe you are pulled a little bit more, but all blood types are so important, because you don't want that other person to think, oh, well, I have a really common blood type, somebody else will give it. But if everybody thinks that, then nobody's giving blood, and we've got a real problem.
Yes.
So every donor is important. Yeah,
yes.
yeah. What's life like now? I mean, what's the prognosis? Do they think you'll need another kidney, or how's it going?
So things are great right now. I ended up getting my second transplant 3 months after my husband passed away from stage 4 melanoma. So I think that became a gift at a hard time.
Right.
When I was scrambling to prepare for summer, and our littlest one being at home and no one to watch her while I was at dialysis. I mean, my husband and I both were working from home. But I still had to go to dialysis.
Yeah.
So trying to manage how that was going to happen was a challenge. And so it was a gift that came just at the nick of time.
Yeah. Wow.
Very grateful for that.
Yeah.
And right now my creatinine again is 0.72 and GFR is above 100. Probably better than your kidneys. I'm just bragging. I'm just kidding. But yes, it's lovely having the opportunity to have more time with the kids, because I think that's your legacy, right? That's what you're trying to do, is give them as much time to know you before you're not here anymore.
Now, are they all healthy? Do they all have 2 kidneys?
Yes. I know, surprising, right? They all have 2 kidneys and are all healthy. Just our 3rd grandchild was just born.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
You're a grandma?
I know.
That's incredible.
Yes. Wow. So, so very thankful for all of the time that we've been given. And of course, Gwen, I mean, how could you pass up the littlest one? She would have not even been here. So, a second chance at life.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. Yes. What are all of their ages?
So let's see. The oldest is 27.
Oh, wow.
And then 25, 22, 18, 15, and Gwen will be 8 this weekend.
Wow. Quite the range.
Yes.
That's amazing. That's a full-time job in and of itself.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I
really.
bet. Well, being a grandma is like, so I hear.
Yeah.
My mom is, I don't have kids, but I have nieces and nephews, and My gosh, she is a whole new woman when she's with him, you know?
Yeah. I think it's odd because Gwen, the youngest of mine, is still young.
Yeah.
And then the oldest grandbaby is 5. He'll be 6 in January. So kind of it's an odd combo that they're so close.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think probably he gets treated more like mine when I'm around him, just because Gwen is so close to that age too. So.
Yeah. That's great.
A lot of fun.
I think it's also important, like we said with some of these other recipients, you think you have something that's very easily to be treated like a sinus infection or something.
Yes.
So what's your advice to people? We obviously don't want to panic them and say, every sinus infection, go to the ER. But at the same time, like if you know this is lingering a little while, or what's your advice?
Yeah. I would say don't be in denial. Pay attention to your body. You know when something's probably either gone on a little bit too long or it's a little off. But definitely pay attention to the signs. Know your numbers. Like if you're going to the doctor annually, they're testing your kidneys. So your creatinine, your GFR, know those numbers. And you can easily visit our website, the NKF website, just to get feedback.
Yeah.
Because we have all the resources listed. And we're always here. We're local.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions, you can always hit us up here. And I think that's the biggest thing. Pay attention. Don't let it go on, because it could be something much more severe.
You're right, to even just have that baseline, like go to your PCP and get that blood work, just so that then the next time maybe, these numbers have changed drastically. Let's dive into that. So yeah, that's good advice. And really, you're never too young to start doing that. So.
And asking questions, right?
And advocating. You said some of your friends had to push you, but sometimes you have to be your own advocate. So that's important too.
Well, and I think too, like even in my husband's case, he had the spot removed, right? And then the doctor had mentioned, if this was any deeper, then we would want you to go for a full body scan. I think at that moment it should have been like, can you go into that a little bit more?
Yeah.
Because I think it should have been done at that time. So I think just, even if you don't pick up on the cues, at least if something feels like you should be asking, you probably should just ask.
Yeah. Good advice. Perry, thank you very much for sharing your story. We really appreciate it. And following up, we will next have Jessica's journey. Like many of us, she thought she was dealing with something simple, like we just said, maybe a sinus infection. She thought maybe she was anemic, but her story quickly took a turn for the unexpected. And now, welcome Jessica to Hoxworth Unfiltered. It's so great to have you here today. And thank you for coming here to, of course, our podcast studio at the Innovation Hub. And how are you doing today?
I'm great, Ashley. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. Okay. So you may recognize Jessica. Her cancer story really has gotten very popular. You've been on local news, national news. What's that been like? I mean, do people recognize you in the streets?
It's so funny because, I'm thrilled because I want to share my story and spread awareness for ovarian cancer.
Yeah.
So I haven't really been recognized in the street as of yet, but maybe that'll come.
People will be wanting your on. This is your big break right here, Jessica.
Right, this is it right
here. So let's backtrack a little bit and just tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're from. I know we saw a picture of your husband online, but tell me about your family as well.
So I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. I was born and raised in Clifton, right by the University of Cincinnati. And I grew up with my mom, Debbie, my dad, Ron, brother and sister, Laura, and Sean Gilbert. So I lived in Cincinnati my whole life. And then I went to San Diego for 3 years and lived out there, which was fun. And that's where I met Harry. And he's actually from Columbus, Ohio. So go figure, we met out in San Diego.
Yeah.
And we moved back to Cincinnati after I had my daughter, Mia. And now we live in Anderson. And Cincinnati's just always been hometown for us.
Yeah. And so you mentioned that you have ovarian cancer. Tell me about that diagnosis and how this all happened, because that's really kind of, I think, the craziest part of the story.
So yeah, I have always been healthy, and just one day we were getting ready to go to Disney, and I woke up with a temperature, and I had a stuffy head that week. I thought I just had a sinus infection. Thank goodness I went to the doctor. I had blood tests done because I thought maybe I had low iron as well. But it turned out I had a neutropenic fever, and I went to the hospital and was treated for sepsis. And while they were doing all the scans and tests, they just so happened to find the ovarian cancer in the emergency room. So it was a blessing that I went to the ER and did find it, although it's a horrible way to find out.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm thankful that it was found because it was stage 3. If it continued to, progress, it would have been a different story for sure.
Yeah. And so how long did that take from when you weren't feeling well, you went to the emergency room, until diagnosis? Was this just a couple of days?
Oh, yes.
Wow.
Maybe 2 days.
Wow.
Yeah, it happened very fast. And then I had an MRI. The CT scan is what found it. I did have MRIs done as well, and I was in the hospital all weekend getting tons of antibiotics, and it was just off to the races after that. Just doctor's appointments, get your port put in, then start chemo just weeks later. So it's really crazy. It just happens so fast, and honestly, it takes time after. I'm still trying to kind of process everything.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Even I'm on maintenance drugs currently, and it's still taking time. This started in January, so we're here in October now. So it's just been quite a year.
Yeah, I bet. So you got treated at UC Health. What was that treatment like? Have you had surgery? I know where Hoxworth fits into this. You've had some blood products. Tell me about all of the treatment.
Okay, so yes, I've had 3 rounds of chemo, and then I had a really big surgery at UC. I had a full hysterectomy. I had HIPEC surgery, where they circulate warm chemo in your abdomen for 90 minutes to get any microscopic cancer that might be left. And then at my hospital stay, that's where I didn't have a bleeding necessarily right after surgery, but there was something kind of oozing a little bit. So I did have 3 blood transfusions while I was in the ICU. I was there for 6 days in the ICU and in general admission, I guess, for 3 or 4 days, and then I went home. And then a couple weeks later, maybe 4 weeks later, 4 to 5 weeks later, I started my chemotherapy again. So I had 3 more rounds. And I took a break and was able to take my kids to Dollywood and Hilton Head for a family vacation. And then as soon as I got back, I started on my maintenance therapy, which I had to pause for my white blood count going low. So it's still just, ongoing. Things pop up still, and you just have to roll with the punches and just keep pushing through. Yeah,
and do you work? I mean, do you have to pause work for this? What's going on with your life outside of cancer?
Well, so I at the beginning of September, I tried to start working part-time again, and that's when my white blood count plummeted. So I've been working from home very part-time. I'm trying to get more hours in because it's hard to juggle being a mom, making dinner, working, going to all these doctor's appointments that I have now, trying to work out and eat healthy. So it's just, I'm really trying to find a new routine and schedule just to have time for everything.
Talk about being in Cincinnati, though. You go. I mentioned that you go to UC Health. Your doctor there seems like you've got a good relationship with your doctor there as well. But to be in Cincinnati, I mean, at least we have these great medical facilities that you're able to get treated at.
Oh, for sure. I'm so thankful that Dr. Billingsley came into that ER room that day, and I've been fortunate to have a phenomenal medical team because I'm finding out not everybody's so lucky. So I do really want to put that out there to make sure people really seek a great medical team. And if you're not getting your answers that you need, or, they're not answering your questions, definitely seek another professional, because that matters.
You have to be your own advocate sometimes, right? And when you don't get the answers at all, not even the right answer, but you have to kind of advocate for yourself. So I'm sure that's a whole nother, meatball that we could discuss at another time. But so good for you to be doing that. Tell me about the prognosis. What's the future look like?
Well, with ovarian cancer, it is very likely you can have a recurrence. Mm-hmm. So, some people don't, but a lot of people do. So, I believe I was provided 47% chance of surviving past 5 years, which is hard to talk about, but
I'm sure.
I just need to stay focused and keep on top of everything that they throw at me. Mm-hmm. Then hopefully we'll have a lot longer than 5 years.
You can defy the odds. I have faith in you, Jessica. You're going to say, forget those numbers, That's
my hope. I'm trying everything I can. Everything they tell me to do, I do.
Yeah.
I ask other survivors, mm-hmm. like, what are your tips and tricks? I talk to people in the infusion rooms. Like, that stuff matters. Stories make a big difference and can change somebody else's life. Mm-hmm. So that's why I want to share my story, and I most definitely wanted to listen to other people's stories as well.
So what is your message? You said you wanted to get the story out there to talk to other survivors or people that might go through this in the future. They say, hey, I remember when Jessica talked about this. What is your message to survivors or people that do get diagnosed with ovarian cancer?
Well, I really do want to come into somebody's life at the right time and just let them know if you're having problems. I want to say definitely reach out to your doctors, request a CT scan. I wish I had known that before. If you're just recently diagnosed, just try to stay positive. Mm-hmm. That really helps. And to get outside and walk and let the sun touch your mm-hmm. skin every day, just try to stay in the moment. It's going to be overbearing at times, mm-hmm. but just take it 1 day, 1 minute at a time, mm-hmm. and you'll get through it. I keep on telling myself you are stronger than you know, and it's very true. You don't know how strong you are until you go through something like this, mm-hmm. and you'll make it. Just keep fighting. Fighting.
Yeah, it's a good motto.
So I think one more thing to add is if you're newly diagnosed, definitely educate yourself and find information about your disease so you can have good questions to mm-hmm. ask your doctor on your mm-hmm. first visit, and to just really, once you're diagnosed, I feel like it changes your outlook on life, and just really try to enjoy life the best you can as well while going through all your treatments. I think that helped me a lot, still having birthday parties for the kids and family over. And so just really just be present with your friends and family. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. That sounds great. Well, thank you, Jessica, so much for sharing your story. And, it's a very powerful one that hopefully other people can resonate with. And we're so grateful that you walked us through that journey. Karen Pletikopic is here to tell us about her story. Thank you so much for being here today.
You're welcome.
So her story started in the height of the pandemic. Of course, we all remember 2020. And Karen's going to tell us a little bit about that. But first, tell me a little bit about yourself, who you are. You're from Cincinnati, all that kind of stuff. What you do in your free time.
I am from Cincinnati. We live up in Westchester now. And I'm married with 2 boys, a senior in high school and one that's graduated. My free time, I actually have been trying to do a lot of stuff. Like, I just came from tap dance class today. I do volunteer at Hoxworth. Mm-hmm. Of course, I just started a little travel business. So I'm trying to just do stuff. And I do Pilates, and I try to get to the gym occasionally. But I try to stay active.
Yeah. And so where in Cincinnati do you live?
I'm in Westchester.
Westchester, that's right. Okay. Where'd you go to high school?
I went to Coleraine High School,
okay.
So we moved.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to that diagnosis. I mentioned it was in 2020. Mm-hmm. Tell me about that story.
Well, it was 2020 COVID, and we're all in the house. I have 2 boys, very active, my husband. So they were all at home doing school and so forth. And, I had some symptoms. I just didn't know they were related to leukemia. I mean, I'm tired. I thought, it's because everybody's home. I'm having to cook and clean. I did have some scratches on my body that weren't healing, which was weird. And we would try to go outside and hike. So a couple times I got breathless, or I felt like my heart kind of stopped. But the third time it happened, I said, this isn't right. So my primary doctor said, hey, get a COVID test. It was clear. And by that was midweek. By Friday, I said, you know what? I told my husband, I need to go to the emergency room. So I went, and of course, COVID, he wasn't allowed in. So I was in there by myself, and that's where I got the diagnosis, blurted out, you have leukemia. I'm like, it was so confusing to me. I was like, just give me my antibiotics, let me go home. But it wasn't that. I didn't get to go home after that for 2 months. So
you went into the ER thinking you had some sort of respiratory issue or a cardiologist kind of issue.
Yeah.
And then they tell you have cancer. How quickly was that diagnosis?
I mean, they just took some blood. It was just a blood test.
Wow.
So they just found out that my white cells were extremely high. And that's just you got leukemia. And I didn't get it. And they took me out by ambulance down to downtown here. I was at Westchester, and like I said, I didn't get out. They got me a room at the transplant floor, and
Wow. So what was your treatment like?
Well, I think like any leukemia, the first, actually I don't even know, I don't remember how long it was because a lot of it's a blur, but they start you on a heavy dose of chemo. I think it's called consolidation therapy, and it's very heavy dose to try to kill all your white blood cells because that's what's basically killing you.
So was it a stem cell transplant that you had? Okay.
Yeah, they tested everybody in my family. My older son was kind of a match, but there was a gene in there they weren't sure of. And my younger son was 17 at the time. They kind of avoided him because he was underage, and they had to go through some more approvals through Children's. And so he tested, and he was perfect. And they said that he had the best blood they've seen because he is a young, fit, muscular 17-year-old. So, and the funny thing is, my blood type was a O positive, and after the months after the transplant, we kept watching it for the chimerisms, and it changed to an A positive, which is so neat.
That is really cool. So now you and your son are bonded.
We are, and he
more so than most mothers and sons.
He used that for a little bit. Hey, I saved Mom's life. But
he can keep using that, I say. What's his name?
Connor.
Connor, you can keep saying that your whole life, buddy. So what's life like now? You said you just came from, what was it? Tap dancing class? That's cool.
Like I said, it takes you a long time to get your energy back. I mean, I feel like, you have a really good day and then you're exhausted for a couple of days. And you have another couple good days. It just takes a long time.
Yeah.
And it's been 5 years. And I think like maybe a year or two ago, I'm not working. I didn't go back to work. So that's another thing. Your memory. My husband's like, you can't remember anything. You can't, which is true. So now, I mean, I do try to keep myself healthy, and I try to start little businesses online and do things I enjoy that I didn't do, when I was having kids or growing up. So,
do you think it's made you look at life differently?
Absolutely. I remember just when I started to feel better, I would go to the grocery store and I'd walk around and I'd look at people and think, they have no idea. I almost died 2 years ago. And but I do appreciate life more, and I feel like I want to live it to the fullest. And sometimes you can't because I still get exhausted. I still get tired.
Yeah.
I want to go, and I never could do that, but I definitely don't have the energy now.
Yeah. And then tell me how Hoxworth works into this. Do you remember receiving blood products and all that kind of stuff? Obviously, the stem cell transplant.
Yes.
Tell me more about.
But yeah, they took all my son had to go get some shots before he gave his not plasma. Yeah, was it plasma? His bone marrow. But after that, I had to go visit them 3 times a week after my transplant. They were checking levels, and I think it was I remember if my magnesium was low and something else, but they would do that, and I'd sit there for 4-hour infusions. I mean, if I needed something, and it was just a very slow process. With the new cancer center, I think they have a lot more rooms available, and it's beautiful. But I'd go there 3 times a week for a while, for like a month, and then it went down to 2 days. And so I was going there about 6 months after my transplant.
Okay. Wow. So you were getting frequent blood products, different kinds.
And
probably.
the staff was, the ladies were so sweet there. And that's how come I decided to volunteer at Hoxworth, because they just mean a lot to me. Mm-hmm. After I had my transplant, which was like 6 months later, I had a medication I was on for like a year and a half, which made me incredibly sick. So, you don't feel like yourself for another, but after that was the last medication I took.
Wow.
So, but you're so sick and you don't get your energy back. And my doctor said a year and a half, 2 years, and she wasn't kidding.
Yeah. And so here we are 5 years later.
Yeah.
Are you still getting treatment? Are you still?
No, I have my last doctor's appointment next week, and I'm so sad to see my oncologist. My doctors were great.
Why? How would you encourage our listeners and viewers to become blood donors? Why should they give back in that kind of way?
Well, it's to give blood. It doesn't take that long. It's such an easy way to save someone's life. I was really lucky because my son was a match, but a lot of people, they have to, use strangers' blood. It has to be a match. And that's so important. And then they use blood for so much, but it's an easy way to go and give blood. My husband does it once a month, and he knows I appreciate it. And they could save someone. You could save someone with just an hour of your time.
Yeah. It's incredible because I think people don't realize, especially that cancer patients use blood. People think of blood in the ER and trauma and stuff,
right.
But it can be routine things. I know cancer isn't routine, but there are people coming in for treatments all the time, and they're using those blood products. Right. So that's one reason why we wanted to tell your story, to let people know that, we need that blood for all sorts of things.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And now we're joined by Haley Hardy. Haley, you actually have a connection to UC. You used to work here. Tell us a little bit about kind of your background.
Yeah, so I'm actually a UC alum. I graduated in 2011. I played women's lacrosse here when I was a student athlete. And then I came back as a coach, and I coached here, and I coached the women's lacrosse team from, I believe it was 2021 to 2024.
Wow, so pretty recently.
Yes.
So in prior to 2024, prior to your job change, you had a cancer diagnosis. So kind of take us back to that, and why, what were your symptoms? Tell us that whole story.
Yeah. So I was officially diagnosed in December of 2022, but I was having symptoms for months leading up to my diagnosis. I had my daughter in February of 2022. And so I think a lot of the symptoms initially were chalked up to that. Fatigue is one of the biggest early symptoms for myeloma patients. But as a new mom, it's hard to decipher what's fatigue and what's just, being a new mom. But then my symptoms got progressively worse. And my myeloma, like many myeloma patients, presented in my bones and led to bone fractures. By the time I was diagnosed, I had 12 fractures, 5 of those in my vertebrae. So was in a lot of pain, and that was a big kind of part of my healing once I was officially diagnosed in December of that year. And then I started treatment just about 2 days after Christmas of that year.
Did you kind of think, as a student athlete and then a coach, did you have experience with injuries and did you just chalk it up to, I guess from all those years of playing lacrosse, this is what I get? Or did you know that it was more serious than that?
Yeah, it progressed quickly, but initially, no. I had never even broken a bone
Wow.
before this. Sprained ankles and bruises and normal athlete stuff, but the pain started out really minimal, right? Mm-hmm. It starts with lesions in the bones, and so it was almost felt like soreness. I tried yoga and physical therapy and things like that initially, and then it just progressed to being such substantial pain that I knew something was wrong. I pretty much started treatment right away, and I remember very clearly, my main goal was to get out of pain. I was in so much pain, that was really all I could think about. And my doctor, my myeloma specialist, when I initially saw him, that was really my first question is, how do I get out of pain? And he said, as soon as you start treatment, that's the only way to get you out of pain, because that's what's going to stop the myeloma from progressing. And he was right. So I went into what they call induction therapy for myeloma, which for me was 4 months of chemo, followed by a stem cell transplant.
Mm-hmm. And it was your own stem cells, which is fascinating from a scientific aspect. Had you ever heard of that? Was that new to you?
I barely passed high school biology. So all of this was way over my head. And I'm just so thankful that there's people whose brains work like that and can understand all the hematology stuff, because it is incredible. And I'm really fortunate that I could use my own cells. There's kind of a lot less to worry about than using donor cells. So I was really fortunate in that way.
Yeah, it was probably really a learning process. And I mentioned this earlier with another patient, but were you thinking to yourself, thank God I'm in Cincinnati. We've got this mecca of hospitals, and you were probably familiar with it going to UC, that we've got UC Health and all that. I mean, how did that play into your decision to stay and get treatment in Cincinnati?
Yeah, it's something my husband and I have talked about a lot, because we had only moved to Cincinnati 3 years prior. And before that, we lived for another coaching job in rural Virginia. And I actually have a close friend that's still there who was going through melanoma at the time. And she was driving 2.5 hours to Charlotte for her treatments and to see a good doctor. So we're so grateful that we live here in Cincinnati with amazing health. And again, grateful to be diagnosed in the year that I was, because if I had even been diagnosed 10 years prior, the life expectancy was roughly 3 years. So the progress in myeloma specifically has been quite incredible.
And you talked about previously that for your age, it's very rare for somebody to have that kind of myeloma, which is why it took a while for you to get diagnosed.
Yeah. So less than 1% of myeloma patients are under the age of 40. So it definitely wasn't the first conclusion any doctor I saw was jumping to. I don't have any family histories of blood cancers or anything, so it took a while to get to diagnosis. I've since connected with a lot of folks in their 30s, that do have myeloma, but it is particularly rare, because truly working and coaching at UC had been my dream. I'm an alum. I love the head coach there. I love the athletic director. I just love UC. And I knew throughout my career and moving around and growing and getting promoted that that's where I wanted to land. And I was there and I loved it as much as I had assumed I would. So having a thought of I don't think I should be doing this anymore was kind of crazy to even work through myself. But I really feel and I think a lot of patients say this, I think I came out of cancer a bit of a different person. I was really itching to get back to the person that I was, but I don't think there was any going back. There was only growing into somebody new. I wanted to, once I entered survivorship and entered remission, wanted to slam the door on cancer for as long as I could. Not talk about it. But I knew that there were people and women and probably moms just like me that were about to go down the path that I had gone. And I wanted to put myself in a position to help those folks. And I didn't really know what that looked like. I said on my job interview with Blood Cancer United, I am not a researcher. You don't want me in your lab, right? I don't know how to move the needle, but I think I can do this. I think I can fundraise. I think I can raise awareness, and I think I can use my skill set to, make whatever change I can. Blood Cancer United is just formerly Leukemia Lymphoma Society. Our mission is the same. But late August of this year, we moved forward with a name change and just an overall brand change, with that mission really remaining the focus. But we really kind of learned as an organization that leukemia and lymphoma kind of felt isolating and exclusive to people. And so did the word society. We didn't want this to feel like something people had to belong to. We wanted it to feel like a landing place for blood cancer patients and all of those, especially the myeloma crowd. There's 104 different types of blood cancer, and we wanted to make sure that we reach all of those patients. So this was about inclusivity and having a name that reflects those values. That Blood Cancer United we don't want it to be the best kept secret. Anyone that's going through a diagnosis or has someone close to them going through a blood cancer diagnosis, we're here for you. We have financial resources. We have help. We have clinical trial resources. Just come to us with whatever you need and we'll help you figure it out. You're really not alone, and that's what our organization is here for.
Well, it's so much more meaningful from somebody who's been on both sides of it. So thank you so much for sharing your story.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so that's it for today's episode of Hoxworth Unfiltered. Thank you for listening. And remember, your donation makes stories like Jessica's, Karen's, and Haley's possible. And if you enjoyed today's episode, share it with a friend or hit follow so you never miss an update. Until next time, stay curious, save lives, and keep it unfiltered.